being on the ground a lot in this run. On this stage, I'm going to be using Buggy. He is definitely not the
はい、
best.
司会進行を引き続き私貧弱が担当いたします。どうぞよろしくお願いいたします。
Yeah, stages get harder, and there's some that specifically you benefit from having certain characters. So you're gonna see.
続いてのゲームは、ソードアートオンラインフェイタルバレットです。こちら、まだ解説の方にお越しいただいておりません。RTA 経験ない方でも、構いません。ゲームをプレイしたことある方、原作を知っているという方、いろいろ語りたいことがあるという方などなど、飛び入りで全然構いませんので、解説応募していただけると、私が、とても助かります。また、マイクを使った、解説難しいという方でも、チャット欄で、いろいろ、補足説明などしていただけると非常に助かります。
And then we're going to head to the second part of the stage. Buggy is a technique character that you can see the purple. Their full force bursts are supposed to be better than other characters, but generally the technique characters in the game are very weak. Buggy's ironically one of the better of them in that sense.
ソードアートオンラインフェイタルバレットの、今回は、Steam 版ですかね。で、走られるものと思われます。カテゴリーは、ニューゲームプラスとなっております。司会の私が、完全にミリ知らなもので、どなたか助けてくださる方がいると、嬉しいです。
I also like to tell him I feel like this stage ends a tiny bit sooner if you head up the stairs as soon as you beat him, but it could just be a loading thing.
Yeah, he like deloads, I think, and it ends the battle.
Steam 版は、2018年の2月24日配信。コンシューマー機ですと、PlayStation 4と Xbox One で2018年の2月8日に、発売されております。
Can kind of kick move. And so we use that a lot.
はい、それ以上のことが私何もわからないので、チャット欄の皆さんと一緒に、ワイワイキャーキャー言うだけのまったり雑談になるかと思いますが、ご容赦ください。
Don't blink, this is going to be fast. So we've got Kid, Ace, and strongest being Yanji.They all have moves that are particularly strong, and they just melt through single enemies. So someone who might be better on a full stage, might be fast clearing movement. Nope, these are the guys who are particularly great at just killing one guy. Crocodile can control you a little bit here sometimes. You know, he'll float up in the air, you might miss here or there. But Kid is very consistent at taking out bosses quick. They look like 23, 24, nope, 29. Still good.
Yeah.He backdashed me twice. He has an invincible backdash. It's mostly triggered by whatever.
ですね。今、チャット欄にスケジュール貼っていただきましたけれども、この先もですね、解説の方がいらっしゃらないゲームが、いくつかあります。背景色が白くなっている行ですね。解説の方がまだいらしていない、ゲームになっております。RTA 経験ない方でも、ゲームをプレイしたことある方とか、原作知ってる方、ぜひお気軽に応募していただければと思います。それから、そうですね。応募フォームと、Discord のリンクも、貼らせていただきました。
Alright, so we're going to, we have these initial Baroque work officers. Once we take them out, we're going to head, I believe, west. As the Marines spawn, we got to take out Tissue. Here you'll see the invincible attack, absolutely gigantic range, ridiculous damage. And now you'll see just how fast Big Dad Whitebeard is.Alright, now I think about Mr. 1 and Mr. 2 spawn, with Mr. 1 being in the northwest and Mr. 2 being
予定では7時20分開始予定となっていますけれども、若干巻き進行で進んでいるようですかね。
annihilated. Nice. Okay, now we're gonna have a bunch of spawns in the map that are gonna be you're searching for information on where the bomb they've hidden in the capital is. I'm pretty sure you have to go to all of the points that are listed here. So you see it's got icons for them. You see in the top right, it says mission and it's red. If you ever see mission and it's green, those are optional submissions. We'll be avoiding them as much as we can, because if we do them, that'll add dialogue and time, you know, just something that we can skip over. Especially if you're playing without the fast dialogue mod, you'll lose a lot of time to them just talking about accomplishing the goal. So just take it a
で、
nice peek
喋
here.
ることもないので、改めまして、現在、行われているイベントについて、説明をと言おうとしたら、急に画面が来た。びっくりした。
We like Fatal Bullet.
We like spaghetti. That's what
We love looter shooter spaghetti.
It's action
こういう
RPG
サプライズはいらないんですが、
the whole time.
ゲーム画面が来ました。
Why are you not tabbed into the game? So we are using
奏者のEbonyZeroさんですね。
Do I?
You have 4. You have the max amount.
Oh, okay. I don't know.
7, 49, and 5.
Probably testing stuff. I know I was testing a lot of stuff in any percent at one point.
Understood. Okay, and to complement the love for Sinon, we are going to be running the Sinon character.
Yo?
And I already have a nice creative name. Female, because nobody wants to stare at the male.
So just to get y'all started, who are y'all again?
Oh, yeah. Should probably do
That's
that.
right, I forgot about that. Well, I am EbonyZero, massive Sword Art Online and anime nerd.
I'm Art Eisen.
Okay.
I route and run anime and Warriors games, and particularly SAO games a lot of the time. And we've both put a decent amount of run attempts.
フェイタルバレットはソードアートオンライン知らない層にも結構売れたと聞いた。なるほど。
Okay.
I'm not gonna run that. It's okay. But I had to. I had to for the memes. Because this game in itself is a meme. But Art and I have both ran this game off and on for an extended period of time. And we
Couple
have
years.
a stupid amount of attempts between the two of us. I know I've put probably like 300 or 400 hours at least into running this game. And that's not including like the actual like grinding up to getting max level, because that takes way too long.
I just cheated up to max level.
プレイヤーネームが0。
See,
奏者さんの名前の一部を
before I knew how to cheat in these games, when the game first came out, Art has put in at least 2 hours. That's true.
Yeah, it has technically been at least 2 hours. I think I have 11 completed runs and like 35 resets or something. I don't know.
I have somewhere in the ballpark of 120 completed runs and like 600 attempts.
Oh, that's a little bit more.
Yeah. There was a time where I progressed this game by like 6 seconds at a time.
Yep.
And that's because I was bad at the game.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, it's a pretty straightforward game. It's mostly that we found like little movement optimizations as we go. There haven't been like too many like huge route changes. It's just like a couple like skips that are like, this is like 2 seconds faster than the old way.
Yeah, like, oh, you're gonna use sword skills and guns, or yeah, sword skills, because there's swords in the gun game. Let's clarify that there are swords in this game. And there are sword skills that you can use to cut corners and stay above certain objects for longer periods of time to make it a little bit faster here and there.
Yeah, I mean, it is Sword Art Online. We have to have some swords, right? I mean, they're otherwise terrible. Swords in this game are kind of bad. Except for their movement tools, but
Yeah, otherwise
you know,
they're
that's
awful.
fine. We're here for movement. We're speedrunners. So.
Yep, we want the fast boys. All right, so I am ready, and we're gonna go ahead and give a countdown for when we start the timer.
始まりそうですね。
3, 2, 1.
始まりました。
Cutscenes in the
グッドラ
very
ック
beginning.
で
Let me
す。
just skip because nobody liked watching the cutscenes with Kuroha in it.
Yeah, there are a lot of cutscenes in this game. Thankfully on PC, the load times are really short. On console, the loads actually, if you're playing on a PS4, the loads make up half of the run. That's not an exaggeration. It's like 48% of the total runtime is loads. Because they have a load for every cutscene.
PS4
But
版
on PC,
と
it's pretty merciful.
PC 版でロード時間がもう全然違うっていう話を今してるみたいですね。
Fun little.
The tutorial.
Is it faster? So here's a question I've always wondered. It's like, is it faster to use speed form here?
ボイスは日本語
Yeah, I
のよ
don't
うなの
actually
で、
know.
なんとなく雰囲気はわかり
This
ます
game
が、
has like a lot of pop-ups for stuff.
どうやら恒例のチュートリアルですね。
Like character dialogue in the tutorial, and you can actually your character keeps moving if they're in the air during that, but not if they're on the ground, because it locks
オ
your
リジナルキャラ
inputs
でプレイします。
until you
との
clear the pop-ups. So you
If
can
I
actually
can-
jump before them to like leap forward.
What is the? I can't switch weapons.
You have to put your weapon away. You have, L1.
I'm on
And it'll let
mouse
you
and
do it.
keyboard.
Oh shoot! Whatever the weapon swap button is.
For the record, everybody, I am holding the button to swap weapons, and it is not working.
I might have.
ボタンを押
custom
してるけど、なんか動かないみたいなこと言ってますね。なんかトラブルでしょうか。
I apologize.
All right, well, this is cool, guys.
That's not what I expected.
はい
Yeah.
なんか不測の事態が。
If you log out, I think you'll have to do the cutscenes again.
Nope. It saves right
You won't?
afterwards. And I'm pretty sure it saves
Okay.
right afterwards because I've had.
Yeah, I might
an
just
issue
want to
with
reset
it.
them to default. Yeah, I apologize. I didn't realize that that it wouldn't. Yeah, I didn't think about it keeping my keybinds. I use a really weird control scheme for this game. I actually play on a controller in my left hand and mouse in my right. I have one of those like MMO mice with 12 buttons on the side.
そうですね。タイマーは2分ほど進んでいますけども、このまま進めるようです。
It doesn't help me that much, clearly, because I don't have record. But I think it is strictly optimal. I think it could save about like 10 seconds total, maybe up to 20 across the whole game from getting like super clean movement lines if I were actually good enough at the game to do that.
会話スキップ、会
But
話スキッ
he's
プ
also
し
the
て、
only one who does that for the record. The
That's
other
true,
top
yes.
runners do not do that. We
チュー
just
トリアルからですかね。
and yes, apparently they removed the flag where it auto saves after this little introduction sequence.
Yes, so we get to sit through it
さ
again.
て、うまく動く
It used to
で
save
しょう
right
か。
after this cutscene ended.
一応戦闘の基本を教えておくわね。大丈夫。あんただって
But now we can actually see the movement.
せっかくだし、あ、そうそう。視線に違和感がないか周囲を見渡して。
Yeah, I think there was a little bit of testing determining that in some cases you actually do.
今度は大丈夫そうですかね。
I don't remember. It's been so long. I think we tested at one point whether you move faster when you don't have a weapon out, and I don't remember if we even had a conclusive answer because it seemed like it was like within like 1% either way.
Yeah, it is a little bit faster. Oh, I have auto aim off.
ちょっと視点移動がかなり激しいので、そうですね、3D 酔い
But, it
しや
is
すい
a
方
little
は、
bit faster,
ご
but
注意
it's
ください。
literally just marginally faster at best.
その調子よ。
Yeah. So in the NG Plus category of this game, we're like
危
super
険だと思ったら
overpowered. We're
ね、
max
動いて
level.
ない部
Everything
分、
is the
例
base
えば奏者さんの
level
カメラ
of
と
the
か
game on easy.
画
So
面の
everything just dies.
左とか下の方を見ていただけると、
Pretty much from our like super overpowered guns. Should be. I think you actually have the Cyber MTXs on right now because that's what I usually leave on. But AR, they're one. We debated a little bit as to whether this or the AR Ninja was better in early game. After the second dungeon, there is no reason to not use the AR Ninja. It might be better to just use the AR Ninja straight up. There's one spot in the second dungeon where accuracy is a little wacky, potentially, and can lose time depending on how the auto aim decides to behave.
There's also the issue if you try to skip cutscenes too fast. It doesn't register your left input, so you have to sit there and click the button like 1.5 million times.
Yep. This game drops a lot of
あれですね、
inputs.
なん
The
か
PC port is like
走る
mostly
モーション
okay.
に
It's Unreal Engine
対
4,
して
so
移動速度が速いんで、なんか若干滑ってるようにも見えますね。
the game has a tendency to drop certain inputs.
アクセサリーの効果でプラス 60% を2枚積んでるかもしれない。なるほど。
And it's like, oh, well, I need to chain these sword skills together with like UFG, which we'll see in a second.
プラス
in order to
60% を2枚っ
cross
て
this
結
gap
構です
to
ね。
save 20 seconds, and I lose 2 minutes if I fail. And it drops your input, and then you lose 2 minutes, and you're like, well, better reset.
キャラクリ画面に戻りまして、
there's a trick 40 minutes in,
出会
or roughly 40
そう
minutes
です
in.
ね、ニューゲームプラスなので、
LRT in?
I guess.
純粋なニューゲームではなく、ある程度の仕込みが、何か許可されているものと思われますけれども、
And you have to use 2 different sword skills and the UFG twice.
システム
Yeah,
チェック
it's pretty tight. You have to be very precise with the aiming because you have to get enough height because you lose a good amount of height between the use of the sword skills. If you get too low, you can't. So the part you have to land on is the same height as where you start.
空を飛んでるエネミーに UFG を当てるとさすがですわマスター
Um,
ダウンさせ成功ですわ
yeah.
これで UFG の使い方が完璧ですわ
Oh.
マスターお疲れ様です
But the UFG is probably one of the coolest tools for movement, in my opinion. As far
Yeah,
as
this
sword art
game.
online goes.
Yeah, this game was made by Dimps, who also made Freedom Wars. This is basically Freedom Wars 2, if you've played that game. Which actually probably more people have played this game than Freedom Wars, because Freedom Wars was on the Vita, and the
激しいアク
Vita
ションが
sold like 5 units.
見られる
So,
I was
見ら
about
れ
to
そうで
say,
すね。
you're probably talking to the audience of 2 people right now at best.
yeah.
I know what
But,
you're talking about. That's
フ
because
ックショットみたいなものですごい高いところに登ってきましたけ
This
ど、
game took a lot of inspiration from that with the movement, because the UFG works very similar to a grappling mechanic in that game, and it's the same developer.
あらマスター
The UFG is kind of the source of a lot of the cool movement tech in this game. It's like the other half of it, besides the sword skills that lets us like dash through the air.
覚えな出かける前に準備を怠らない
There's only a couple sword skills that do that, but we can chain them together because so it's called the sword skill is called dual orbital. It basically makes you spin around and shoot like bullets in like a spiral or whatever. Well, we don't really care about the bullets because the damage on it is crap compared to some of the other stuff we can do, like just shooting our regular guns. But it covers a pretty big distance, and
遅いじゃない
there's 4 levels of the skill. 2 through 4 can all be used in midair, so we can chain certain combinations of those together and cover really big
今
gaps.
日は私がいるからいいけど
and there's
階段一歩で飛ばしましたね、この人。
It's also better to use it in, but it's better by like a couple of seconds here and there. You're not going to save a ton of time with it,
私
unfortunately.
消耗品は買ってくる
Yeah, there's no like out of bounds in this game.
はショッ
At
クだ
least
そうで
not
すね。
reliably. It's a little bit difficult to find places you could go out of bounds because most of the walls in dungeons where that'd be useful are right angles. And we don't even know what happens if you get out of bounds. Unreal Engine has a lot of things to prevent that from sticking. It'll just like force you back in a lot of cases. So right now we're just going through more tutorial stuff. This game has a pretty lengthy tutorial before it lets you like really play the game. And in the speedrun it makes up probably about the first 8 to 10 minutes, unfortunately.
Yeah, I think I'd say about 10 minutes in our 50-ish minute game time, at least.
Yeah.
Like, you spend about a fifth of the game in the tutorial.
But then it opens up more, and well, opens up in the sense that you can explore the areas. The actual progression of the game is fairly linear, but you have a lot of like branching off you can do if you want. We don't in the speedrun because it's a speedrun, but for now they're just going to make us go around and talk to all the various characters. So the story of this game, if you've not played it, is essentially that you are a unnamed gamer playing this MMO. And your friend is Kureha, and she has an inferiority complex, and your job is to aggravate her inferiority complex by being better than her. That's kind of what happens. That's not
会
like
話シーンが多いようですけ
the
ど、
end
み
of the story,
んな
but
スキ
that's
ップ
what
スキップ
happens
で
in
飛
the
ばしちゃう
story.
ので、何が何やらですね。
What happened? You just make her so upset because you're better than she is.
何か
And it's not like she's even bad. Like she's still like hanging out with all the good people and keeping up with them. And it's kind of weird that she's so upset about it. But you know, she loses us a lot of time in the run by talking to us in cutscenes that don't need to be there, so we don't like her.
There's also the argument to be had for if you're actually running this game and not doing it in a scene where you don't have game time and real time being pulled up at the same time, of fast traveling literally everywhere. It's
Yeah,
a little bit slower real time to fast travel, but it saves game time.
Yeah, our load remover that we have is pretty aggressive. There's actually parts where it's not even like a black screen or that like blue and black screen that you see when it's loading, and it still counts those as loads in the memory, so they still get removed from the LRT.
And here's the moment where we re-log in to reset our frame rate to 0.
一旦リセッ としたよ
So
うです。
yeah, the game gets set to 30 FPS by. Remember when we got we went through that like second character creation earlier, for our Arphasis, which is our like robot assistant or whatever.
30fps にしたとか言ってました。
That cutscene where they come out of the canister sets the game to 30 FPS, which makes us run slower. It makes our loads longer, which only affects RTA. And it makes like sword skills travel slightly less distance due to a quirk of Unreal Engine causing pretty much everything at lower frame rates to move less distance over the same amount of time at lower frame rates. FDM Kureha Edition plus enemy despawn speed up would be the optimal way for this game to exist, yes. So FDM is a mod that Nylan makes for, or he has made for several Warriors games that basically speeds up dialogue playing so you don't have to sit through it.
Okay, well, I'm 100% down for this. Like...
Yeah, the enemy despawn thing, we'll explain when that comes up in probably like 2 minutes, because the first dungeon's pretty quick. Don't accidentally press up too many. Okay, you didn't press. Okay, yeah, that's good.
I know
It's
exactly
very
what you're
easy
talking
to
about.
accidentally fast travel to the wrong area there if you have the DLC, which we
戦
do
闘の
because
よ
you
うな
need it
雰囲気
to
ですけれ
get
ど
like all
も、
the best
ガ
weapons.
ン無視して奥に進んでますね。
Both of the best guns in the game for the speedrun are DLC only. Both the AR Ninja and the Cyber MTX. So if you accidentally end up
対応に
transporting
た
to
どり
White
着いて、
Frontier,
はい、お
you
し
lose
ま
like
い。
a minute because you have to sit through cutscenes and then you have to travel back here and then you have to fast travel back to this place. It's really obnoxious. I've done it several times.
警戒してヘイトが集まってきてるわ
Play switch. Thank you.
さっきのフックショットで高いところに登っていきます。
Oh, don't forget the secret tech of the weapon swap repeatedly forever.
Yeah, I have to... This is also really annoying. Hitting buttons in this game, like switches, oh my goodness.
Yeah. The game does not like to accept inputs on
こ
every frame
れ
for some
は
reason. It's
そ
like
う
the
です
physics run in
ね。ダン
60,
ジョン
where
を
your
駆
inputs
け抜ける
run in
シリーズ
30,
に
it
な
kind
る
of
かも
feels
しれ
like
ません
sometimes.
ね。
I don't know that that's actually what's happening, and it's hard to tell. So what Zero was trying to do a
構え
second
て
ago
はいま
before
す
that
けれ
switch
ども、
room is to grapple
本当
through
に
the
必要
door
最
as it
低限の
opens,
敵以外
but
は
prepare the
ガン無
grapple
視して
before the cutscene
進
of the
む
door
タイプ
opening
の RTA
so
みた
that
いで
he
す
could
ね。
save like a second on movement there. It's very hard to do that consistently. There is a delay on these doors opening after the enemies die. And that's what I was saying before about a hypothetical enemy despawn speed up. If there were a mod that did that, this game would get like 5 to 10 minutes faster for free.
Yeah.
Instead of having to wait for like the doors to ping green. Like if they just automatically happened after
フックショットは主人公専用の特殊アイテムみたいな位置づけだった記憶。
The boss monsters and every other monster in the room. It's an
yeah.
unfortunate
みんな
downside.
が協力してくれて助かった
Just like
わでどんなパーツ
how
が
to
手
see
に
with the
入ったの
bosses that I fight and stuff like that. There's always this massive delay where we just sit there and wait. Where the cutscene
Yep.
comes up and opens up the door, and now it's like 10 years later.
A couple of them are like soft skippable. I think the one in the next dungeon is if you jump
ボ
into
スらしきもの
Yeah.
いたんだって感じ
or,
の
well, I think that might only just say
出落ちでしたけ
LRT
れども。
because it's black screen.
Mm-hmm.
I've
done it a couple of times in regular runs.
Yeah.
到着だねお疲れ
There's also the issue of using a buff or something amongst those lines. Like any of the buffing skills, like how we have a power form and a speed form. If you use them too soon after another action, it doesn't always apply the buff. That actually happened in the first dungeon that we just did. I was trying to use power form when I landed.
Yep.
何にもしてないような気がしますけれども、やりましたっつってますね。
Yeah, I think Nylan says, I think when art is free, we can likely make it pretty fast, TBH. Yeah, I think it's very doable. This game is in Unreal Engine, which means that modding it is pretty feasible. I think there's like 40-something mods on Nexus Mods for it, so someone's cracked it. That would be super cool. I might actually run the game again if that existed.
I will run the game way more often.
Because then it's like less arbitrary waiting and more just pure skill.
Mm-hmm. That would make it so much more incisive.
ナイスすごいな私たちの勝利ね到着ねお疲れ様これで
え、終わ
I
り
always get a little bit nervous on the second Joe fight
さあ私たちの
Because there's silly time to lose on it.
The best time to lose on it is to not get the. Oh, did you?
アップデートの続き
You didn't, did you?
No, I got it.
本当に
Okay.
Barely got it, but also if you walk like 2 steps too far, like further than what I did, they respawn.
Oh yeah, they despawn and you have to respawn them and kill them again.
Yeah, it's incredibly frustrating. I figured that one out the hard way.
Yeah.
And fighting from that far away with ARs with auto aim, not exactly the most accurate, and you do kind of have to go for headshots.
本当にゲ
I
ー
can
ム画
imagine
面
that would
の
probably be
大
even
半
worse
が
on
メニュ
extreme
ー
if
操
they
作な
don't
ので、
just insta die.
何は何やらですね。
Yep.
いつの間にかクエストが始まっていつの間にか終わってる感じがずっと続いています。
フェイトを散らして
Ooh, the menace skip. I found this one. Oh, no.
Nope. I don't do it. I don't do the menace skip.
You don't do the menace skip? Okay.
I have tried it a few times and I can get it, just not consistently whatsoever.
Not fair.
僕はス
Yeah,
キ
I
ップっ
mean,
ていう単語が
I think it's really easy on
現地実況から聞
controller
こえますが、
personally, but I wouldn't want to do it on keyboard. It feels weird on keyboard to me because of the angles.
警戒して
Everything.
グリッチでも出るんでしょうか。
Fair.
フェイトが集まってきてるわクリティカルしまった
Menace skip, anyway, would have been from the top of that room, around that corner, you can actually use a sword skill, and it'll carry you all the way across if you time your jump right. It saves like 2 seconds. It's weird, because like, if you miss it, you break even with just not attempting
姉
it.
ちゃんをよこせと言われた時
It
は
doesn't cost you
Oh.
any time unless you actually mess it up. If you actually mess it up, you do lose time.
結果を
落とし穴にわざと
I've
落
messed
ち
it up once or twice.
て
That's,
しばらくしたら
I always go for it
クエストが終わってたっていう感じですけれども、
yeah,
今のが成功だったんでしょう
feels cool
か。
when you land it. The last time I tried it, I royally messed it up. And
嫌な感じ
ended
が
up
します
losing like 10 seconds because I just sat there trying to figure out what I did wrong because the camera went all janky on me.
ここが僕荒っぽい連中ばかり
So since that moment, I stopped doing it. Especially since
Walk
we already
forward.
had the issue where I had to essentially restart the run because the controls were wonky.
Yep.
マスターあそこに
Yeah, I have like all of the skills and then like reloading and a bunch of other stuff mapped. I have 12 buttons on the side of my mouse.
Oh my
So-
goodness.
So I have like almost all of the controls mapped to that, and then on controller I just have weapon swap and jump, and that's it.
It's fitting though, like that works well.
敵よ
I think it suits the theme of the game. It is in it does pretend to be an MMO, so
It does not.
MMO.
It wants to be. It just wants to be.
Yeah, you just can only actually play with up to 4 other people at a time, and not in any of the overworld areas,
No,
or actually dungeons really either.
Only in these really crappy multiplayer dungeons.
Yeah. I had a record in one of those once, and then
知ってるだけで終わってしまった
more DLC came out, and it got broken by like 3,000 people because the weapon cap went up. That
Oh,
was fun. I remember when Brave Fire 4 was the meta.
oh my goodness! I'm so glad it's not though.
I mean, it was kind of one note, so yeah, but it was also kind of funny memes to just like point it at things and they just melt, even if they're like level 200 something.
敵の銃撃をうまいことかわしながら
We use the newest
進んで
patch.
いってるようです。
Newest patch is definitely fastest.
原作の整合性を完全に無視してあらゆるキャラが参戦。お、マジか。
Somehow that an older patch would be faster for like true
なんか
ending,
狙われてます
even
が
with weaker weapons on easy at
大
least.
丈夫なのかな
I'm 100% convinced it is faster.
Just because the credits are unskippable now, they used to be skippable.
スナイパーのようね
And the credits are like 8 to 10 minutes long. I doubt we would lose 8 to 10 minutes having like rank 9 weapons. They're still like way overpowered for new game. Oh, actually, new game it wouldn't matter anyway, right? Because we're not getting up that high.
Yeah, no.
スナイパーのようね
New game is 100%. Like doing like true end and stuff like that. Old patch is definitely the way to go.
Yeah. I don't know if we have a down patcher. I don't know if there's just a universal way to do that. I haven't looked into it because I don't really.
敵のレーザーサイトがす
I
ごい
don't like
数
how slow you move. You
しかもかな
actually
り
move.
主人公
I
を
want to
的
say
確
almost
狙って
twice as
きてるよう
fast
ですけれども、
in NG plus, maybe faster than that compared to
それを難なくかわして進んでるようですね。
just an NG run.
I think
Because
it's
you have-
faster. than 2 times.
Yeah, it might be. Because there's like tiers of movement in this game based on your stats and how much you're carrying. It goes, your default is orange when you just make your new character. And you can go down to red or up to
なんか
yellow,
ボスっ
then
ぽい
green,
敵がいましたけれども
dark
わず
blue,
か
then
1秒
light
で
blue.
撃破。
There's not that much difference, if any, between dark and light blue. But either way, there's that plus movement speed buff skills, and then 2 accessories that give you a total of almost 60% more movement speed. So you end up with probably a little bit over double, probably like 225% movement speed.
回復するわね。
And it's honestly like probably the reason why I enjoy this game as much as I do, because the 2 times movement speed is just
It feels
nice.
so good.
It's nice.
Yeah.
銃を向けると車線が見えるっていうのが原作でもあったゲームシステムの一部。なるほど。一機はロストソングで余命3ヶ月のところからなぜか解放に向かって製造している感じ。おう。
Oh. Well, that's some interesting news. I think I just went the wrong way. I am so amazing at this game, guys. I promise I have the record, or I've had the record. I don't have it anymore.
You're only like 10 seconds off, though.
Yeah, it's ridiculously close. Like,
途中の雑魚敵はも
I
ちろん無
definitely
視。
don't always go right instead of left when going up solitary sands. I definitely never go the wrong way.
For sure.
Yeah, never. That's the one downside. It's like if you make a simple mistake like that, it's what is it? It costs you way more in the long run
Yeah.
because your mental kind of suffers from it. Because there's not a lot of time save.
Yeah. I don't know how to pronounce this person's name in the chat. ZXCI says that metal gauge at 100% boost stats by 80. Yeah, that matters a lot in the context of an any percent run where we have crap stats, and anything to boost our dex is like huge, because that's weak point damage, and we have crap damage in NG. In NG Plus, everything melts so fast that I don't think we've really needed to ever use that.
We also don't really have the chance to build up to 100% gauge.
Yeah, we would actually lose for, I think, the last like quarter of the run. We have 1 or 0 party members because it's actually going to lose time to put them back in.
Although for this
As-
run,
僕を引っ掛けるのがうまくいかず落下してしまいましたが、しっかりリカバリー。
Yeah, we gotta adhere to the legend of Rick.
Mhm.
Based Rick.
He is 100% in our party right now, by the way.
Oh, yeah, I guess he is. I didn't even notice.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, we got Sinon and Rick.
Yep, I put them both in. They're going to be our party members for the whole game as long as it can be.
I mean, Sinon's forced anyway after Abandoned Road, so.
Yep. She's our
ボスっぽいものがいましたけれども、
And I don't
落ち
think
込ん
there's
で
any point in the game where it auto changes your party members again.
We're speedrunning. I think it forces everybody out for the Koreha fight.
Yeah, you're right for that.
We are speedrunning story mode instead of hardcore co-op quests because we like doing that, basically.
Yeah. Oh, I hit the barrel.
基本的には外のフィールドを進んでいくとダンジョンの入り口があって、ダンジョンをクリアするとフィールドをまた進むみたいな感じで、なるほ
I
ど、
don't
進行
find
してい
the
くと。
co-op. Yep. Well, here's a good laugh for everybody. Just go right. But
Yeah.
I don't find the co-op
Otto?
quests to be super fun.
なんか敵が特攻してきて爆
Wait,
発し
why
ま
are
し
you
たけ
going
れ
this
ど
way?
も
Aren't you supposed to just turn right
You
there?
are. I
Full
just
Tapenos.
completely brain farted on it
Yo.
because I was looking at chat, so we got to see the best fight in the whole game.
True, it ended in like 2 seconds, just like the rest of them.
If you make that mistake in new game, though, you lose a stupid amount of time.
Oh yeah, well that guy's got a lot of health, so he's very tanky in new game. Oh, I like this skip. I hate it, but I like it. It feels
Guy
cool.
doesn't go for menace skip, but goes for that, even though it only saves 2 seconds.
So more of a challenge depends on what exactly kind of challenge you're looking for. The absolute minimum time in this has not been achieved. We're probably very close to it in hardcore co-op. And frankly, I don't really care for the meta in those. I just don't enjoy it. I've run them before, back when the game was still getting updated. I kind of fell out of it because of that. But also, on PC, most of the leaderboards on that are just, like, cheated.
Yeah.
it's not that hard to. So there's anti-cheat in this game, which we have to circumvent, which forces us offline when we're using the load remover because
レ
it's
ベ
memory
ル、
based.
NG プラスでレベルが乾燥しているので、ご利用しでひたすらゴールに向かって。
But you could hack
駆け抜ける。
overpowered
そんな
weapons
感じっ
into
ぽい
the
です
game,
ね。
like beyond what the game
メニュー画面で
allows.
レベル
You can use
300っていうのが
those for co-op.
見えたの
So
で、
the in-game leaderboards for that are kind of
味
meaningless.
方キャラは全員めちゃ
They're
くちゃ
only
強い状態
valuable
にな
on
ってるってことで
console,
すか
which
ね。
is almost invariably an inferior version
レベルが
because of the frame rate.
銃の威力に関
Well,
係
the
する
aiming
ん
being
ですかね。
arguably bigger than the frame rate.
Mm-hmm.
Just
Aiming on
not being able
console.
to aim with mouse in a shooter,
武器も
like
最強っ
this,
ぽいのでボスもあっさり解ける。な
especially
る
with
ほ
the
ど。
movement on the UFG, it's just painful. So there's a
序盤は
lot of
本当に
reasons to not run hardcore
ただ
co-op.
ただ
If
ひ
you
たすら
like
駆け
it,
抜け
more
るモー
power
ド
to
になり
you.
そう
I
です
would
ね。
encourage you to run whatever in the game you like, but we don't. I mean, we could run it if we wanted to. We just don't. That's fine.
Yeah. And like people have thought about, or we brought up making leaderboards for them and stuff like that, but
Yeah, we have leaderboards for Hero Quest
Yeah.
on SRC.
we just don't do the hardcore co-op, which I mean, I don't see a reason not to. Maybe if there's some interest in the community after this, we can, because I would be down
Yeah.
to do some like friendly co-op speedruns.
People start running it, we add it to the boards. That's usually how it goes. And it actually has IGT, which is nice. Accurate IGT, which is even more nice. But yeah, as for right now, there hasn't been much previous interest.
The thing about the dropped inputs, this stupid worm that we all love.
本来ボスはそれなりに時間をかけてやりだまないと倒せなかったは
Fired
ず。
and it just didn't fire.
まあ、
Yeah,
そうですよね。
The game actually,
登場して1秒足らずでみんな倒されてますけど。
and you will instantly fire as soon as the screen fades in, and you will stun lock the worm to death, and everything's easy and fun and free. But sometimes that doesn't happen.
And it's beyond our control, unfortunately.
I think you have to walk to a specific spot. Oh, did it already give it to you?
Yeah,
Okay.
you just have to wait time. You don't have to walk.
だってまあ時間的には、まあ、そろそろ折り返し地点ぐらいまでには来てるものと思いますけれども、相変わらずの高速移動と瞬殺で 非常にサ
Insofar
ク
as
サク進ん
co-op
でます
quests are
ね。
concerned, though, I do have I have. Does this save? I don't know if the save that's on SRC that you're using has the gold disaster. I don't know how much that would affect things, but I have a maxed gold disaster that I hacked in.
Nice.
Has everything but max damage roll because I don't think I can
レ
hack
ーザーファイトに
that.
追いかけられていますが、
But that doesn't matter for
None of them.
anything in even extreme because we still killed them in like 2 rounds.
Yeah.
今度は正面から狙わ
I'm
れてい
not
ますけ
sure
れ
if
ど
it's
も
even faster and easy. It might be faster in extreme just because the health is so bloated.
I think
But I-
extreme maybe, but in anything other than extreme, it is 100%
You just-
not worth.
Yeah, you can just UFG under, and it's more. It's actually arguably more
至
just
るとこ
because
ろ
of
から
speed
狙われてま
loss,
すけれども、
the movement speed loss. But I would mainly say the use case in extreme is like the Nephilim in Forest Edge,
Yeah, yeah.
because
definitely.
there's one segment where you lose basically almost nothing on movement compared to how much you would
Oh,
save
tekui,
killing
tekui.
faster.
この大穴からフック使って
The dual Nephilim in
この
particular, you
落
could
下は
swap at after the static cloud thing.
失敗してるっぽいですね、
the
何か。
electric clouds.
Yeah.
And then you would swap back
Ah,
as the
諦めて
cutscene
上
for
から普
the
通に行く。
Nephilim unlock is playing.
橋の下を通
It
る
was a pretty negligible
と
amount of time on movement.
成功するとタイムが短縮できるルートがあったように見えますけれども、2回挑戦して2回失敗して
No,
しまい、
that already happened. I'm on stream delay because I'm watching the.
Oh, you're watching the restream?
That's all I have.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
We just don't talk about it, okay?
Yeah, that's fine.
敵
Yeah,
ス
it
ナイ
didn't
パー
happen.
注意
It's not.
といった
We can
1秒
just,
後
you
に
know,
倒れて
post
るのです
hoc
が
edit that out of the VOD maybe. I don't
Yeah,
know.
yeah, yeah. No, that didn't happen.
I mean, if it doesn't PB, it doesn't matter, right? So.
Valid.
Yeah, this game repeats a lot of the bosses with like tiny differences. Like it'll change the arena but use the same model with largely the same attacks. This one's the same as the second dungeon
崖
boss.
の上に登っ
The
て
only difference
何
is
や
that
ら
it
巨大な
spawns
要塞が
ads, which doesn't add a lot because you can block the ads the same way you block the boss's attacks
Yeah,
by
you step under the
positioning
bridge.
yourself under the bridge. Yeah, which also doesn't matter on easy anyway because we just kill it in like 3 seconds. But
If you play extreme, this section's actually incredibly difficult because you can get hit.
Oh
with
yeah,
slow.
you can just get demolished.
You can actually just die right off the rip.
Yep. Do you actively play the game? I did at one point. I no longer do. I haven't played. Honestly, I haven't played games in like 3 months anyway because I've been recovering from carpal tunnel. But I haven't played this game in probably I think 8 or 9 months. It hasn't been updated, so I got a time I was pretty happy with and moved on. If more stuff was found, I might go back to it. What?
Is that all it takes? More stuff being found?
It depends what's found. If it saves like 5 seconds, no.
Oh,
If it saves like 3 minutes, yes.
Fair enough. I can't argue that.
何かスイッチのようなものを順番に押していって、
There is actually a fastest route
こう分かりにくいところに隠されてますね。
to solve our fun traveling salesman problem, because that's basically just what this is. I don't actually remember what it is because I haven't played the game in forever.
Same. That's why I just went to the switches as best as I thought I could.
Yeah.
制御端末
Really,
で
you just have to remember where they all are because the fastest route only saves like
扉
2
が開
seconds.
くとかそう
Which
い
is
う
not
類の
nothing.
もんでしょうか。
But if you forget, it's like, whatever. It's 2 seconds.
Yeah, you're not really gonna cry about the 2 seconds you lose.
To be fair, the top 2 times are 10 seconds apart. So.
Well, yeah, I guess that does make a little bit of a difference. If I did that and then just, you know, didn't suck at the game.
I mean, everyone sucks at this game.
パーツが全部揃ったそうです。
Like nobody, the game sucks at having players too. So, by virtue of like the well, there's not very many active runners, is what I mean by that.
Yeah.
But yeah, like the level of execution and the game deciding to cooperate that would be required for an optimal run is pretty. It's not been attained yet, I don't think. I think the LRT record is like a mid like 40. It's like a 45-40 or something. I think, is that right?
I think so.
I think technically.
なんかボスっぽいのがいて、お、すごい。倒すのに2秒もかかりました。随分強いボスだったようです。
I do not have an answer to that.
The reason there's so many of them online is probably because speed gaming is restreaming in multiple languages. There's at least a Brazilian or like Portuguese and Japanese restream. I don't know what other ones. What was I saying a minute ago?
The differences in the top runners.
ジャパニーズリストリームの話
Yeah,
して
like
ま
10
す
seconds
ね。
apart, yeah. Yeah, so hypothetically, I think like a 44-30 is possible if everything goes super perfect and no mistakes. But that's not a lot of room with current strats.
Yeah.
And a lot of that isn't necessarily up to the player. So like, see how at the end of that UFG, we do like a little flip? If you hit it in a very particular way, on some cases where you don't want to go up a ledge, but you just want to gain height, it's faster if you don't do the flip. But you don't necessarily have a say in how the game interprets that. And sometimes you'll end up with the flip when you don't want it. But it loses like a second and a half every time you do a flip. So if we could conceivably get all of the UFGs that don't need to clamber onto a ledge to not flip, we save like maybe 15 seconds across the whole run. But we don't know how to do that, and as far as we know, it's not consistent anyway.
Yeah.
So
it is, alas, it's out of our hands. You just gotta get lucky.
It's the looter shooter spaghetti memes. It might be the most spaghetti thing about the game, that and the random speed loss.
Yeah. Unfortunately,
but we have a solution for the random speed loss at least.
Yeah, you just gotta look a little bit like a fool, like what I'm doing, and just sprint.
Spam weapon swap. Yeah.
相変わらずめちゃくちゃ狙われてますけ
You
れど
don't
も
have to do it
無
nearly
視
as
して
often
突破
as
し
I
て
do
ます
it, but I
ね。
just do it so I can build the memory to continue doing it.
Yeah, muscle memory and stuff.
敵だっ
Another
て
moment where
言ってるんですけども、どこに敵がいるんですかね。
when you're skipping a cutscene.
Another moment when Kureha wastes our time with 2 load screens and a cutscene we didn't need.
For real.
足の
Like,
途中の
maybe
行
you
き止ま
should
り
take a
までや
break.
って
Maybe
きて、
you
こ
should
こからダン
stop.
ジョンでしょうか。
Maybe you should not interrupt us when we're trying to speedrun.
For real, like, come on, pick any other time. Like,
余計な接
The
触
no
はしない。
Kureha mod is the best possible reality.
yep. Especially if it removes all of her
ガン
cutscenes.
無視して
That's the
先
goal,
へと進ん
yeah.
でるようです
100% cutscene removal. Oh.
Take everything related to Kureha out of the game, which actually I think means that we wouldn't play it because in story our motivation for playing it is to play with our friend, which she is.
Yeah, but see, that's
So
actually...
I guess that gets us a time of 0 minutes
Oh,
and 0
瞬殺。
seconds, so that's like instant world record, right?
Exactly. Like, everybody just ties world record.
Yeah, it's great. As Rick intended.
ゲームとしてはもうそろそろ後半戦に入ってるぐらいの時間ですけども、この辺でももうすでにというかまだ瞬殺が続いてるってことは、これはもしかしたら本当にラスボスまでずっとこんな調子かもしれませんね。
is not quite. He doesn't have Speed Form 4, and he doesn't have light blue movement with the max success rate, so he can't actually catch us. But he's also on our side, so maybe it doesn't really matter.
It's actually for the best, because if he could catch us, he would probably be moderately upset with the fact that, you know, we're trying to run away from him.
Yeah.
おお、今度のボスは硬かった。3秒かかりました。
I hope you liked that boss fight, because we're going to see it again in like
そう
3
ですね。
minutes.
なんかゲーム性はずっと変わらないです。なるほど。もう本当にずっとこんな感じが続きそうですね。
Right?
ダンジョンを駆け抜け
That's
ろと
probably the
言わ
easiest
んばか
boss
りの
fight in the game.
構成がずっと続いていま
Yep.
す。
Just stand there and hold. Well, I mean, they're all kind of stand there and hold fire. It's just like little nuances, like move to this position or like jump in this pit after you holding fire.
There is one boss that is actually just infuriating and you don't want to get a critical hit on.
Remind me which one that is.
Corpse. Because if you crit
Yeah.
him, he closes his eyes and you can't crit him anymore. And he takes
Yeah.
damage. It's kind of a nightmare.
Is it actually reasonable to? Is there a weapon we can get that doesn't have crit boost on it just to prevent that?
I don't think so. That wouldn't cost us time.
Or we could just use the explosive stuff for that, but I don't, because there's a cutscene. Oh, we could still end up with crits, but the explosive crits are different, and we wouldn't be hitting the weak spot anyway.
Yeah.
If we use disaster there, we can equip it on the cutscene of the door to his boss room opening, and then unequip it while we're waiting for the cutscene after he despawns.
Yeah, that's true. We could. That wouldn't waste any time.
That might actually be faster.
It might be the one time where you want to switch to disaster on easy mode.
Yeah.
あ、林を抜けていった先に何やらでかい建物が見えてきましたが、
The physics in this game are wacky.
Alright,
Very
let's see if I can
wacky.
get this. Nope. Rest in pepperoni.
This bridge
またで
is
かそうな
like
ボスが
maximum spaghetti, by the way.
いますが
See how it's got like all those little indents and raised parts on
後
it?
ろ回って瞬
Those
殺。
serve mostly to cancel your sprint. It's very unfortunate.
And if you are very precise with your UFG, you can actually start the fight underneath the boss and just immediately end the cutscene. You get the
Yep.
cutscene and you leave the cutscene. You know what's funny? I actually don't know how to get to this position here without fast traveling. Where you have to get to pick up the Arthur system. I have no idea how to get there without fast traveling.
I mean, yeah, it's faster anyway, so.
I just think it's funny, I've never actually been up here through any means other than fast travel.
Same. Yeah, even playing this game casually, I was like, you unlock these fast travel points as part of the tutorial, so why would I ever walk here?
Exactly, like, it doesn't make any sense to me.
It's faster on console, which has 20-something second load screens a lot of the time to fast travel up there, so.
建物の入り口、さっきの場所ですかね。戻ってきて、お、さっきと同じボスっぽいのがいて、裏に回って、瞬殺。ちょっと一回手こずりましたけども、改めて回り直して、撃破。
I'm trying to think of any time we might actually hit 100% metal gauge in easy in the very least.
さて、これは何をしてるんでしょうか。
Nothing lives long enough for us to hit 100%
Yeah,
metal gauge.
I think we get to like 20% in one or two areas, but
Yeah, generally Metal Gauge is built by prolonged combat, and the other way you can build it is by spamming. It's hard to do in single player compared to co-op, but what you can do is everyone casts like the AoE buff spells, and then you spam Encourage, and you build a ton of Metal Gauge very quickly, which builds your weapon art gauge as well. I don't think it gives movement speed. I think it technically gives agility, which might.
あら。どこか入っちゃった。少々お待ちください。しかも長いなこれ。わかりましたね。これはおそらく、奏者さんのツイッチチャンネルの広告ですね。去年の ASF で私が司会入った時も、なんか奏者さんの画面で広告が出ちゃって画面がずれるみたいなことがあった気がしますけれども。イベント、ツイッチチャンネルをミラーする形でイベントを開催するときはですね、ぜひ広告をオフにするっていうのでマニュアルに書いておくとお勧めします。
I don't even think we get Speedform 1 because I don't think Speedform is Speedform 1 even worth it?
No, Speedform 1 is not worth it.
We would have to get 2, which would require us to. Sure, agility increases the weight bar, whatever. I mean, same thing functionally. Agility increases the weight bar, which increases movement speed. It ends up being the same thing.
Yeah.
It functionally increases movement speed. That is one of its, I guess, endpoints, so to speak. But in the context of NG+, we already have cannot get faster than this, barring that weird speed glitch that has happened a couple of times.
I really miss that weird speed glitch sometimes. Unfortunately, it invalidates the run since we don't know how to replicate it.
Yeah, we can't get nanotech boost in NG+ or NG either. And you can't use nano on yourself. You have to have a party member use it on you. It's useful in like casual play or in co-op, but it's not useful really in single player because you can't use it on yourself and you're always going to be better than your allies by like a lot. I think Yuki gets it. Philia might. I'm not sure. It's been a while. I remember always having Yuki in my party for that.
我が家に戻ってきたそうです。
Also, this is where
画面切り替わった瞬間から要するに集中砲火で2秒足らずで倒してきました。おー、ショットの長いやつ、すごいロングフックで。
この辺りはややこしいフィールド。
Yeah, once you hit light blue weight, I mean, technically nothing other than movement speed stat increases your movement speed anymore. Because strength increases the total weight capacity, but that technically doesn't influence it. It depends on what weapon, what loadout you're carrying. But even with maxed strength and agility, and the you would need max carry weight accessories as well, which would deprive you of the max movement speed accessories to use like technically the highest DPS setup in the game, which is twin golden disasters in this category. And those just weigh such an obscene amount that it's just not tenable unless we're not really having to move with them at all. We're just using them for like a brief moment of combat and then switching back during like an unskippable cutscene that lets us menu. And we're actually, I think, forced into green weight with those, with the stat spread that we have to use, because we can't really change stats mid-run, because we'd be losing time.
部屋中の敵を片付けて
Yeah, I think they forced us into green weight. I don't remember exactly. Like I said, it's been like 8 or 9 months since I ran the game.
And I've never used the disasters, so I don't know if it forces you into green. I'm a firm believer in equip the AR and never switch weapons until you do until you do UWP.
Yep. That fast travel point on that little side path there is a great way to kill your run if you forget to get it, because then you lose like a minute or and a half running back to it.
Let's not talk about the fact that it literally took me 6 months of running the game to learn that that was a fast travel point.
I mean, you brought it up.
Yeah, I did. Only because, let it be known, if that little detail escapes you, you know,
You will suffer.
you're 2 minutes behind record and don't understand why.
That's why. Or because you forgot to turn right. Could be that.
That only cost 10 seconds?
Oh, in this category.
Yes, I don't play New Game, dude.
Oh, I guess that's fair. You have a run, though, don't you?
I have one run that I did in New Game, and no, I guess I did two, because I did a Truant run forever and a day ago, and I went AFK for 2 hours during that run, because I had to take somebody to the airport, and then I did one any percent run after the fact that took me like an hour and a half.
I mean, hour and a half's not bad for NG.
It might have been longer than an hour and a half. I genuinely do not remember. I've done one run.
Yeah.
And here is the infamous skip.
UWP skip, yeah! Best worst trick in the game?
おお、なんか難しそうなテクニックを決めようとしましたけれども失敗かな。
Well,
決めてサイコクラッシャーみたいなの出してもう一度フックして届かない。
Yeah. Who loves input?
なかなか難しい技のようです。
input drops are amazing. What are you talking about? That's what makes this game so fun. It's like a casino. It's like playing
フッ
the
クが
spins.
なんでしょうね、引っかからないような、引っ掛けようとしたけどなんか弾かれてるみたいなエフェクトが見えるので。
On console, you lose like 30. It's hilarious. It's actually harder on console
引っかからない。
because it's 30 FPS. I've only ever done it
ソー
once.
ドスキルでダンジョンの入り口からボス前にショートカット。こういうのができるのはここくらい。なるほど。
time on console, and if I
ありがとうござい
fail,
ま
I
す。
just play the dungeon normally
That's
because I
hilarious.
lose less time.
Okay, if I could hit the that one. That one was on me. I hit the wrong ability.
Yeah, fair.
That's because I wasn't actually expecting for it to work.
Nylan says, I believe in my ability to fix the
だった
input.
けれども、
I
もう
really
一度
hope so.
回転出したけ
Can
れ
you
ど
also
も
fix it so that way I don't get
復
caught
活
on
出ず。
lag?
Can you also fix it so Koreha's not in the game?
See, that's actually my biggest, like, can you do this for me?
Real talk, I'm probably going to be involved in helping fix it anyway, so...
このフックはしっかり決まるようになりました。お、
We made it.
今度は決まりました。ちゃんと2回目のローリングも出
And
て
it's my least favorite trick because
ショートカット。
it's not even a hard trick to pull off.
Which one, the
というわけで
Koreha or the Ledges?
ちょっと道中のあれこれを丸ごとすっ飛ばしてボス戦までシ
Yeah,
ョ
I
ートカットと何をしているんでしょうか。
If you could, friend? There we go.
You might,
It
you
was
might want to...
it was eating my inputs because I got
Oh,
shot in the middle of the text because you're not supposed to be able to
Yeah.
get hit.
Yep.
Because everything. Okay, so normally in that boss fight,
一旦建物の外へ。
everybody dies. Like everything dies before you kill the boss. But in New Game Plus, you're strong enough to be able to just kill the boss on its first cycle, which kind of makes the AI break sometimes. And if you get hit while quest animations pop up, it takes forever to regain the ability to move.
Yep. Noma, I never had record for this game, but I did grind it for a little bit. I technically have had console records. I think someone beat one of... I literally just threw out like 2 random console like runs. I did like 1 attempt at each. And then someone beat one of them by like milliseconds, which I thought was pretty funny. I mean, yeah, I had console record for 2 categories. Because nobody runs on console, for the most part.
Nobody
Which,
likes
like, understandable.
suffering
It
like
mostly
you do.
was. Yeah. But, the only, like, I would never recommend running the... Well, I don't want to say I would never recommend, but, like, if you can run this game, please try to run on PC. It'll be a much better experience. If you absolutely have to play on console, do, like, current gen, because your loads will be cut in half. If you're playing on, like, PS4 or Xbox One, you will have, like, 55 minutes of loads in an hour 55 run. So...
Oh, okay.
だいぶ複雑な地形のダンジョンのようですけれども。
Buttons, like the orbs in the air, they're much easier to handle than like switches. However, they are still awful and should not
Yes.
exist. Especially with what's about to come up here in a second. Okay, never mind.
Oh, because, like, accidentally hitting the switch instead of landing correctly?
Yep.
Yeah,
ま
I've
た
done
ボス
that
っ
before.
ぽいのは瞬殺。
But I got it first try, which is for me surprising. Normally that is one.
隣にいる方敵ですよね。ここ並んで悠長にドア開けてましたけど。またボスっぽいのが来ましたが。
Alright, and that's the worst boss in the entire game.
おお、すごい。今度のボスは5秒以上かかりましたね。
The other one you can't just kill silly fast.
あ、長かったクエストをようやくコンプリート。
Alright, but that marks, I don't know where we're at time-wise, so...
We're not that far from the end,
時
so
間的にも
it's Forest Edge,
も
which is
う
the
間もなく
longest
ってい
dungeon
う感じで
technically.
すけれども。あと、いくつぐらいクエストあるんでしょうね。
And then, shoot, what's after Forest Edge? Forest Edge, Flugel Depths, or like Flugel Bow to Flugel Depths, Glocken Depths end, right?
Okay, yeah. That's right, you just talked her out here.
And then you already did the 4-player fight, but I think we have the Kureha fight, so...
Yeah, Correa's. I think we're probably like 10
Oh, and
minutes.
Hazel Joe too.
We're like 10 minutes
Yeah.
from the end.
Yeah, if we go overestimate at all, I take responsibility for my wonky controls that I forgot I left on my save that I put up for public use.
I really hope nobody else has ever downloaded that save and started the game and just been confused. Because you don't realize it until after you start the game up. Like,
Yep.
because my gameplay hasn't been that bad. Like,
さあ、全員集合してる。
with the exception of UWGP, but we don't talk about UWGP.
No, it doesn't exist. We're gonna mod that out of the game too.
いろんなキャラと会話をして、スキップ、会話をして、スキ
That's a
ッ
good tip.
プして、
Oh, the accidental Lisbeth quest? Oh, the accidental Asuna quest. I usually get the Lisbeth one, but yeah.
I'm hit or miss on which one I get. It depends on how wide I try to cut my turn. Hello. Thank you for giving me one of that back.
Yeah, 7 is like equal to 0 if you try really hard and ignore how math and reality work,
Yeah.
though, so it's fun.
I mean, in my defense, this game is spaghetti.
以前から
Yeah.
ただの
Like, only one of those was actually your fault, right? So, the one where you actually put the wrong skill in.
Yeah. I mean, there was one fault of mine.
そうかみんな
Otherwise, we
But
played
that also
spaghetti.
didn't happen because we didn't. That skip isn't in the game.
No.
It's actually been retroactively modded out. And this is actually Aizen's Shikai that we're watching right now. Aizen from Bleach.
Yes, I love it.
This speedrun is an illusion. So.
One day though, I will get
ず
UWP
っと会話イベントが続いてるので、なんかいかにもそろそろラストみたいな雰囲気が漂っていますが、
You only need 10 seconds.
I know.
Aside from the one secret run that I think Niam never posted that was like a 45-30 or 5 or something.
You know,
ス
I
ター
honestly
トクエ
believe
スト
that
とまた
that
出ましたが、
It does exist. I've seen pictures of the splits. Unless, unless they just faked the splits. I don't know, but I don't know why they would do that.
またようやく外に行くようですね。
Am I busy right after this run? Technically, no.
sounds like a trick question.
すぐダンジョンの中へ。
I mean, I would probably want to eat, but other than that,
お
no.
ー素早い。5、6
Oh,
Correct
yeah, this is that
ita
one room,
teki wa
the other one room
shunsatsu.
where accuracy matters, but we don't want to switch back to the other slightly more accurate weapon here because damage actually matters now too. I mean, accuracy is kind of like basically damage, but the difference in damage is bigger than the difference in accuracy.
もう一度フックショットで、
No! Falling.
Yeah, falling on that little area is kind of infuriating, but it happens to the best of us.
めっちゃレーザーサイトに狙われてますが、なんのそのまたボスっぽい敵の裏側に回って
This
弱
dungeon is
点
really
らしき
dangerous
場
in
所を
extreme and
一
in
撃。
NG. You can actually like insta die in a lot of spots. Those snipers will headshot you very easily. So one thing that's different about 30 FPS versus 60 FPS is that the enemy targeting is tied to frame rate. So the enemies are more accurate and track you better at higher frame rates. And because 60 FPS is otherwise faster, we have to play on it. So in the other categories, this is a very dangerous dungeon. It's still it can be a little bit wacky here if you're running like a low defense setup. I don't remember how much
FPS の
vitality I
関
have
係
on
で
this save. I
こ
think
の
it's
ダン
like
ジョンが
30
非
or
常に
something, which is enough to not get
難しいダンジョ
insta-killed.
ンだとい
But you
う解
can
説
still
を
get
現地解説の
headshotted
方が
and
されて
die.
ます
Because
ね。
headshotting staggers you.
Yep, and if you get headshot once, you can easily get headshot a second time, and then you're just dead.
Yep.
Even on easy.
流れるように敵を全滅して次の部屋へ。またボスっぽい
Shoutouts
キャ
to
ラの
finding the
後ろに
faster
回
teleporter
っ
in
て
this room.
弱点を一突き。
The faster teleporter?
There's two teleporters that access this room. The one that you took was way closer than the one I used when I started.
Oh, I didn't even know there was a second one.
Yeah, it's like off further in the room underneath the big platform. You have to UFG to it. It's actually super obnoxious to get to when you're trying to do it fast. So,
I just...
フックが引っかからず落下してしまいました。も
So,
う一度トライ。
no, not more falling.
引っかからずというか、左側の壁に引っかかっちゃったんですかね。
room is so... This dungeon is so gay.
あっと落下。
I actually use I use dual orbital for that one.
I might start, because that was something
ロス
else.
してしまいましたけれども。
That guy
次の部屋
really did not want you to climb those stairs.
Uh-huh. Yeah, that wasn't cool. Not cool at all, buddy.
食らえ。
さあ扉の向こうからボスのような敵がいました
We're
け
gonna
れ
get the
ど
quick
も、
kill.
Oh, yeah.
1秒ちょっとで撃破。
Yep. Yeah, so that guy, depending on how fast you kill him, the door unlocking cutscene can happen halfway through his health bar and stop you from killing him until it's ended.
Luckily, if you kill him beforehand, you, what is it? The animation starts playing off, so you can fast travel sooner.
Yeah, it saves probably like 5-6 seconds. And
そう
it
ですね、
is
落ちてもすぐ
consistently
近く
really
の
accurate.
足場に
If you miss,
リスタートできるの
It
で、
takes a ton of damage.
if you
その
take
辺はありが
more
た
than
い
a
ですね。
second or so to walk in on his weak spot, there's no way you get it.
ゲーム開始時に まあ2分ちょっとだけ、ちょっと設定不具合によるタイムロスがありましたけれども、まあ、EST 的にはまあそろそろって感じで
We
す
got
ね。
Flugel Depths, which is going to be Nephilim, right?
Mhm.
Then we got Glocken Depths, which is going to be Earthshaker, who's just bad Nephilim.
Yep.
And then we have the final boss.
Yep.
ファイナルボスって言ってます
We
ね。
are very close to the end of this game.
右がうよう
Although
よ
this
いると
hallway,
ころ
like
を
running through
通り抜
the
けてい
fuel
っ
depths is
て
an absolute nightmare
引っか
when
か
you're as
っ
fast
て
as
る
we
けれ
are.
ども、うまく抜けていっ
Because you just bonk
て、
walls constantly.
If you were to have clean movement through this little area, you'd probably save like 10 seconds at least.
Yep.
But
It's a lot of very tight turns that are almost impractical if you aren't on mouse and keyboard. Or on mouse, anyway. Just because you can turn faster.
I don't know anybody
this-
who has clean movement through there though.
Yeah, I've never seen it. That skip also, that little WFG there,
Mm-hmm.
that's also miserable on controller.
I could
because,
only imagine.
yeah, I mean, I've done it because console, and it's pretty bad. You have to set. I can't play this. I can't run this game on console without setting the aim to max, the aim sensitivity. Like, there's just stuff that doesn't work. The UFG or the UWP skip doesn't work, and that barely works in any other context.
Wow.
I remember when we weren't
さあいかに
fast
も
or
な
powerful enough to kill those guys
構造の
straight
場
up,
所に
and
やっ
we
てき
had
ま
to
したけれ
stun
ど
them
も
to get enough time to kill them when we were back with rank 9 weapons, which for some reason have like less than a third the power of rank 11s.
Yeah, it's kind of ridiculous the power scaling the way they did
物
it.
々しいところにやってきましたね。
Yeah, because 9 to 10 is like a 10% increase, and then 10 to 11 is like a
男女
300%
の
increase
一番
or
奥
something
だ
stupid.
そうですが。
So you say this, Shrimp, but I literally offered that as a suggestion. Like how many times I fall or I bonk. But nobody wanted to take me up on it, so.
ボスっぽいのが現れました。さっきまでの敵よりもさらに1段階でかいけれども、後ろに回って弱点を集中攻撃。
Where I fall or do something stupid like hit a wall. Way too often. I'd probably already have to donate like $100 right now. With all of my bonks in the Fugal depth.
まさか今のが
I
ラ
mean,
ス
there's
ボ
enough
スなわ
physical depths
け
that it would be like we have to
な
go
いですよ
back
ね。
through the VOD and find out after the fact. It
Yeah.
happened in
まさか
count.
Yeah,
まさか
somebody sit
ね。
here and count every single bonk. My guy, you bonked
いやいやいやいやいや、まさか
733
ね。
times.
ナイスファイト。
Wouldn't be
あ
unheard
の
of.
ね、ラスボスが瞬殺されるわけないですよね。あ、ラスボスはまだです。ありがとうございます。なるほど。よかったよかった。
I was really hoping to be able to do this in an hour, but with the amount of rust and the not so great start to the run,
ということは、
no way was that possible.
まあ、1時間2分49秒。
While it's not hard,
まあ、序盤のごたごたありましたけども、まあ、1時間ぐらいのペースってことですか。
and good
結構 EST はじゃあギリギリめに
I
設
can't
定してあった
remember
の
if
かも
my
しれません
PV
ね。
has a UWP mistake. It might. But it didn't matter because that was my first completed run with the new load remover. Because the old. We have gone through a couple iterations of load remover for this game. The original one was capture based, which was obnoxious because it didn't work equally well on everyone's PCs. Like mine would only cut out the blue loads and not the black screen loads, or one of the others. I don't remember which.
and mine only cut the opposite for the record.
Yep. And you had to change it per resolution because I play in 1440 and some people were in 1080. But eventually, one of the other runners, Nyam, made a memory-based load remover. So now we have that, but it saved more than a minute across the full game just because it's removing the loads a different way.
帰りなさい。
So yeah, it ended up being pretty easy to save time with that.
Although I think it's still a more accurate
あ、ここは強制的にタイトルに戻されるイベント。へえ、そんなものが
It's。definitely more accurate. Yeah, and it works for the DLC as well.
強制再起動ですか。
Because the DLC has
あ
different colored load screens, so
そんな仕掛け
changing
は
the captures was actually an issue.
この前はびっくりした。
What's happening?
I accidentally hit Kirito's room instead of home.
Oh, okay. Oh, right. Koreha fight Glock in depth, and then is final boss. Yeah.
That's what we think of Korea, for the record, everybody.
Yep. Just disintegrate her
出
immediately.
てきたキャラを
And I don't
銃
need
乱
to
射
heal
で
up as
瞬
much as I do
殺。
for her, and I definitely don't need to shoot the nano bullet afterwards, but it's a respect thing, you know?
Or rather, a disrespect thing.
Same difference. When it comes to Kura,
We don't like Kureha. Fun fact, it's impossible to get her hair color in the character creator.
yep.
It doesn't exist. I tried. I
時間
actually...
5分
The
ESP を
character
過
I
ぎてし
run
まいまし
as
たけれども、
on
まだ続くようで
console
す。
is called Not Kureha. It's like, you know, imposter Among Us memes. Because that version of Kureha actually saves time, while the real Kureha loses a lot of it by having a lot of pointless cutscenes.
Too many.
So we like Not Kureha better than regular Kureha.
Clock in, and then final boss.
ファイナルボスって言ってますね。
It
Also,
should be like, maybe like 3 minutes.
yeah, 3 or 4. Depending on if I get blown up too many times in Glocken.
Yeah.
Because that's a real threat
Is
in
it?
this dungeon, is if you don't run Human Fortress, there's a very high chance you're going to get blown up.
Yep. Which I don't know if I have that.
It is.
さあ、ファイナルラスト最終ボスでしょうか。
Although it's only Human Fortress 2, which is fine. That's all you
Yeah, I
need to
run
do
low
is-
vitality.
Yep. Which, I mean, I did too.
Yeah. I feel like it's optimal just because you can put more points into dex, etc. Intelligence for buff duration. Because I tried a 1 intelligence build and it's miserable.
あ
あの次がラスボスだそうです。ありがとうございま
Like
す。
you have to reuse speed form multiple times per dungeon.
Whereas if you just run with whatever intel you can,
Yep.
you can maintain speed form, power form all throughout an entire dungeon with very little issue.
I would like to say that my console record has a 1 intelligence character. So it's pretty beatable. Well, the
おお、最初のチュートリアルっぽい
the
ところの
easy mode
場所
one
ですか、こ
actually is
こ
on
は。
PS5. So if you don't have a PS5 or a Series X, it's probably not beatable at all because the load.
なかなか面白い演出し
I
ま
would
すね。
say, PS5 loads means you just win.
Yeah, it's like 24 minutes of save. 27, I
抜け
think.
て、またでかいマシンの背中を打ち込んで、
Well, that's blocking already done. An entire dungeon in less than a minute.
We like that.
Blocking can be
テ
miserable
スト
because
コン
you
プ
can
リー
hit
ト
by
と
a
出
bunch
て
of those
いますが、
tanks, and you can lose several minutes very easily. Or you can get lucky like me, run Human Fortress and just never get hit. Which kind of made running Human Fortress a waste. And you never ever ever pick safe Kura, you lose time.
チュー
Guaranteed.
トリアルとは違うはず。ほう。
Right? The game has a high chance of crashing if you choose safe Kura.
Does it? I've never had that happen. I've never had it crash here. I've had it crash in multiple other places, but never in this part.
I've had it crash one time, and that was when I accidentally said I wanted to save Kura.
なるほど
Oh, well, there you go. Fun fact, this is the only unskippable cutscene in the game. You have to mash the text here.
そうっす
Yeah, if you guys can hear or see what I'm doing, I am now mashing my mouse and enter because those are the two inputs you can use on mouse and keyboard for selecting text boxes.
さあ、じゃあこれが
And,
スタートクエストで出たので、おそらく最後のクエスト、ラスボスがいるクエストということでしょうか。
if you don't mash them, then there's a high chance you're going to get your dropped inputs when you don't want them.
おなんかラスボスっ
Also,
ぽい
we are
敵
coming
が。
up on time here in the next minute.
Yep. There's like 2 rounds against this
はい、
boss.
3秒と経たずにやっつけて
Don't
しまいました
forget,
け
we
れど
gotta
も。
swap in Rick and Sinon for the final battle.
Right here. This is the swap.
え、終わり終わり
They put Rick close to the bottom.
いや
to
なんか
these
キャラを選択しているようです。
Yep.
まだ続くんでしょうか。
two. All right, and we're going to have time in like not even 10, 20 seconds here.
お第2形態っぽいのが。
Time.
GG.
No,
What?
like, you can underestimate.
No.
終わったようです。
4 minutes. I blame
Oh.
I 100%.
ラスボスの最終形態すら1秒で撃破とは。
That would only have cost about 2 minutes of that. So it was at 2:37 when you loaded back in.
おお。
When I loaded back in?
Yeah, when you loaded back in, it was at 237 with the inputs correct.
まあね、嫌な予感はしてましたけれども、いやー、
Okay, but still, you're 4
す
minutes.
ごい
over, so
移
you
動
would
スピード
put a minute
と
over.
すごい火力で
It was
ひ
close.
たすらダンジョンを駆け
I'll
抜ける
take partial
ゲームだったようで
responsibility. That's
す。
fine, but I won't take full responsibility.
It's okay. That's still a respectable time.
Yeah, it's fine. It was
あ
pretty good.
開始直後に少しごたごたありましたけれども、まあ、それでもちょっと EST を超過してしまって、ちょっと奏者さんが苦笑いしていたところです
But
ね。
otherwise, it was a solid run. We got to show it off a
2
bit.
時間9分8秒の撃破となりました。そうですね、ほとんど走ったり、メニュー操作したり、会話したりの連続でしたけれども、まあ、ところどころ随所に部屋内の敵を一瞬で全滅させるような高度なエイムが求められるような場面とかもあったりして、ところどころ見どころのある面白いランだったんじゃないかなと思いま
So
す。
that does happen.
Nice run, guys. Nicely done. Very fast.
Yeah.
You move very fast in that game.
It takes a lot to get used to too. If you haven't played it in a while and you come back to it, that movement speed is insane.
The movement is mainly where the difficulty comes from, is like because it's so hard to control when you're moving that fast. It is like it has the capability to be precise. Like it does generally respond instantly and doesn't have much like drag to it. But the environments are usually full of obstacles that cost you speed, so you have to be very precise. You have to utilize that precision to like its maximum capacity in order to make the most of it, I guess.
And for
to be redundant.
The mouse and keyboard players, yes, running on a lower DPI on your mouse could help because you can be more precise, but you need a high DPI for the UFG skips. Otherwise, you don't have enough time to flick.
You need like a swap or something, or like the game is weird because it like scales your DPI. I actually ran the game with like 400 DPI and it scaled it up to like 1200.
That's insane. I wonder what it puts me at when I run 803 DPI.
That's a weirdly specific number.
It's okay. It's a weirdly specific because I play Valorant and I'm too lazy to change my DPI.
ニューゲームプラスの
A villain to your own
PC
runs.
版。
I see.
ああ、リアルタイムでもう世界記録が1時間切ってるんですね。
So yeah.
Thank you everybody for stopping.
世界1位の方が59分53秒、インゲームタイムだと45分48秒。
You want to say to the
今回走られましたエボニーゼロさん、世界2位の方で57分52秒の記録を持っているようですけれども、まあ今回ね、少しいろいろありまして、1時間9分
Oh, well, thank
8
you.
秒と
You
の
don't have to be that nice.
クリアとなりました。
Well, shout outs to Zero for being better at the game than me. You have like 3.5 minutes on my PV or something?
Something like that, and it was still a bad run.
Yeah.
What's current world record right now? For
I'm
this game?
pulling it up right now. Current world record.
LRT is 45:48. RTA is weird because loads vary. The record holder has an HDD, not an SSD, so there's like 2 minutes of RTA time lost there.
Yeah. So world record
Zero-
is 45, 48, and then mine is 45, 58, so it's only 10 seconds off, but my RTA is more than 2 whole minutes faster than the world record.
Because, yeah, I
話
have
してい
like
る
a
ような今のうち
49:14.
にいろいろ
So
改めて、
I am third place.
ただいまのゲームが、ソードアートオンラインフェイタルバレット、カテゴリニューゲームプラスでした。こちらのゲームは、
Under that, if you're really lucky.
プレイステーション4、Xbox One で、2018年2月8日、Steam で2018年2月24日、それから、Nintendo Switch 版が2019年の8月8日に発売とのことでした。
Join the Discord. I'll teach you the game because I
現行機種で、遊べるみたいなので、
to know about this game.
気になった方、ぜひプレイしてみてはいかがでしょうか。
But it's a fun game, and it's definitely, once you get used to the movement at New Game Plus, probably my favorite SAO speedrun. Because you move
it does feel really
super
good to move.
fast. But yeah, that's all I've got. Thank you guys for having me.
Yeah, thanks, gamers.
Yeah, no, thank you for running. Alright.
終わりの挨拶してるようですね。
Hello everybody, my name is Gyo Senpai and this is
はい、というわけで改めて、ソードアートオンラインフェイタルバレットでした。お疲れ様でした。
commentator during one of my.
そうしましたら、次のゲームの準備に移りますので、一旦ここで失礼いたします。引き続き、SF2023 をお楽しみください。
How I pronounce your name?
Yeah, Nyland's correct.
Nyling, okay. I got it on the first attempt. This is the kind of thing that happens when you try to speak on a language which is not your main one, but I'm here to try to do my best. And this is gonna be Saint Seiya the Hates. The reason mainly why I have a commentator is because I don't know a lot of things about the show. I just played the games back in the day. But that's gonna be interesting story I'm gonna be telling later. So we're only having a good amount of time to talk about that. So basically here on the run, which is gonna be the any person route, what I'm gonna be doing is that I'm gonna be playing through the main Hades arc in the game. And if you're wondering, well, which is the main one, every time that you replay the game, you get different options in order to pick which route you want to take into the history. But in this case, I'm just gonna go for the main one, which is just pressing the circle button. That doesn't add any of the canon's storyline that get unlocked every time you play the game. There are 4 different lines, but we're gonna be going through the main one. So I'm gonna assume that we're ready to start with the timer and everything.
Pretty ready to go. Timer-wise, I am also pretty ready. Just let me know, give me a countdown, and I'll hit the button.
I can make the countdown, don't worry. Or do you want to make it?
I'm ready to go.
Okay. So let's start on 3, 2, 1, go. And also, I'm using a special shirt that is not related to Saint Seiya, but it's related to one of my favorite animes, which is Kobayashi-san Chino Made Dragon. This is a Mexican design from Ghana that says Dragoncitas, which is based on a Mexican candy called Dragoncitos, which is something like small dragons. But it has a typo because Dragoncitos or Dragoncitas is what it wrote with the C letter, not with the Z. I don't know if my pronunciation was correctly for that, but let's go back to the topic of the game, the Saint Seiya the Hates. This is a fighting game where, well, we get told the history of the manga, focus on the Sanctuary Captor, and well, that's gonna be something that Neil is gonna be doing for you, and I'm gonna be trying to explain some of the stuff that we're gonna be doing. The game is a bit repetitive in talking about the game mechanics for the run, but there are gonna be some stuff that are gonna be working slightly different. Here, first we're gonna be having the Seiya versus Death Mask fight, and the thing that I'm gonna be doing here is that I'm gonna be trying to do middle plus lower attacks or high to low attacks in a combo way, and also you can move before the match begins. So the reason why I'm gonna be chaining this kind of attacks is just to avoid what I have got here. Unfortunately, this was a bad start, because this is what I wanna do. Middle plus low hits, because with this I can try to keep any character without any kind of movement. And once they are low on energy, I'm gonna be using these big bang attacks. In this case, I don't know which is the name on English on this, because I have been playing this in Spanish almost all my life.
Yeah, the attack, his signature attack is three things. Just 3 things. Pegasus.
Yeah, the Pegasus attacks. And the reason why I'm gonna be using this, and just I'm gonna be doing this in all 17 fights we're gonna be having on the run. The reason behind this is mostly because in this game, when any character gets low on energy, what is going to happen is that they're going to be having an opportunity to respawn. But if I attack with, if I lower all their energy, if I lower all their energy with the big bang attacks, what is going to happen? Oh my god, this is bad. If I lower their attack with all their health with the big bang attacks, they are